Today I'll be talking about a common chess trap that you can find, um, and you're gonna play as white, and it's gonna be against the Damiano Defense that black plays. So without further ado, let's get into it. So this move order starts off with e4 by white, e5, knight f3, and the critical move in this position is actually f6. So f6 seems like a logic move, strengthening, like protecting this pawn on e5 because the knight is attacking it. But it's a blunder, um, and here's why. So the move that white should play in this position is knight captures in e5, and most likely your opponent will play f captures in e5 because they've probably never seen this trap before. But if they have, they might go something like queen e7, but I won't be covering that. So I'll just be covering f captures on e5. This is where the trap starts. And now, white should play queen h5 check. And after queen h5 check, there are two possible moves that black can play. The first one is g6, but g6 loses a whole rook, and this happens by queen captures on e5 check, and after something like queen to e7, um, white can just capture the rook on h8, and queen captures on e5 is not a threat because you can just go king to d1 and you'll still be a full rook up. So that's what happens when you play g6. So um, the other move in this position is king to e7. And after king to e7, this move order is kind of the same. You go queen captures on e5 check. King f7 is the only move. And now you should bring your bishop out by playing bishop to c4 check. And after bishop to c4 check, there are two possible options for black. The first one is go over is king to g6. After king to g6, white should definitely go queen f5 check. Just force the king farther into the corner. Force to play king to h6, and now the move here is h4. So after h4, um, it's basically hopeless for black here. His king is on h6. All of white's pieces are gonna come into the attack. If black goes something like maybe, I don't know, d5 to attack the queen, hit the bishop, then you can bring this deep. You can play actually. You can go d4, opens a discovered check, onto the black king by the bishop. And after d4, um, black has to block this somehow. He'll go g5 to block it, and here you can just play h captures on g5 with check. And after king g7, here simply you can go queen e5 check, um, king g6, and you can even play e captures d5, or you can play bishop captures d5, anything. And this is a completely overwhelming attack by white, and you should be able to win from here. As the king is on g6, black has these two powerful pieces and nice center, um, an open h file for his rook, so you should be able to win this. Um, so that's what happens when you play something like d5 to block it. Um, so you go h4, and yeah, so this discover check is the key thing that forces like this irresistible attack. Um, your second option, actually, after bishop to c4 check, is instead of king g6, you go d5. In my opinion, this move just delays the inevitable. Um, After bishop captures d5, which you should play, you go king g6 again, but here you cannot go queen to f5 check because the bishop guards the square on the bishop on c8. So you can't go queen f5 check here, but you can definitely go h4. And after h4, the best move here for black is actually h6, because all the other moves lose like immediately. For example, after you go something like knight to c6. Then here white should play h5 check. You go king to h6, then d4 check. The bishop again opens a discovery. Now you go only moves g5, and h captures e5 en passant. Black is forced to go king captures g6. Now you go queen to h5 check. Only move is g7, king g7, and now queen to f7 is checkmate. So let's go back. So that's why like the best move in this position is actually h6. And after h6, the move in this position that you should play as white is actually bishop captures on b7. And bishop captures on b7 might look like it's a blunder. You're giving up your bishop for nothing. But actually it's not, because if black considers bishop captures b7, then white can play queen to f5 check, and that's checkmate. No possible squares to move for the black king. So yeah, that's what happens after bishop captures b7. So you cannot go bishop captures b7, and your rook is hanging. So what can black do? Here black can try bishop to d6, attacking the queen. So attacking the queen, but white can just go queen b5, and he'll be fine, because he's still keeping an eye on this f5 square. So bishop captures b7 is not an option. So here you can try and gain a tempo on the queen again by attacking it, but that won't do much, because you can play h5 check in this position, and after h5 check, there's basically only two options. First is king to f6. If you go king f6, then you get e5 check, and you can try maybe bishop captures an e5, but this loses to a beautiful move, queen to a4. And after queen to a4, basically the threat is queen to h4 check, and once the king moves, you can gobble up the queen on d8. So, and not to mention that your rook is also hanging. So your rook is hanging, and this queen h4 threat. Sorry about that. And this queen h4 threat, it's just unstoppable. So let's go back. Yeah. So after h5 check, other move here is king to h7, but after queen d3, it's just hopeless, because if you go bishop captures b7, you get e5 check, and it's a discovered check, right? Checking the king, you can try maybe bishop to e4, but it's just gonna be a mate in one right now. Maybe like you can try that g6, but queen captures g6 is definitely checkmate. So again, you cannot capture this bishop. It's like a poisoned bishop. So I guess you can try something like knight to e7 here, but again you get e5 check, and it's just hopeless. Your bishop's hanging, your rook is hanging, your king has to go to g8, and then I don't know, you can either take this rook or take the bishop. Like anything is possible. So it's a completely lost position, no matter what, in this Damiano defense. So yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time with another chess trap.